And the Middle East region is quieter today than it has been in 2 decades. Now, challenges remain. Iran's nuclear weapons program, the tensions between Israelis and Palestinians. But the amount of time that I have to spend on crisis and conflict in the Middle East today compared to any of my predecessors going back to 9/11 is significantly reduced.
Well, 8 days after Sullivan's remarks, Hamas launched its deadly attack on Israel. Joining me now, Florida Congressman Michael Waltz. He's a member of the House Oversight, Armed Services, and Foreign Affairs Committees. He's also a member of the Trump Assassination Task Force. Congressman, good morning to you. I want to get your thoughts on Jake Sullivan's words that have certainly come back to haunt him, but also, you know, the Wall Street Journal has a really good piece out this morning, and this is the editorial board, and they talk about Israel's deterrence as a lesson for Joe Biden, because all that we hear from the administration is they want a ceasefire, they want a deal, you know, get the hostages released. Meanwhile, Benjamin Netanyahu and the IDF and Mossad have carried out attack after attack and successfully now killed the leader of Hezbollah.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And as you saw from Sullivan, you know, really taking a sad victory lap that has now haunted the entire world, the underpinnings of their entire approach to the Middle East was flawed. Every time you hear him or Blinken, Biden, Harris say de-escalate, really that's a new code word for appease and for an appeasement strategy. They're like the kids on the schoolyard that, when facing down a bully, just tries to give them more lunch money or give them their fruit roll-up or their ham sandwich. They're constantly trying to give a different kind of concession to Iran. And what does Netanyahu and the Israelis know? Well, when you're facing down the bully, sometimes you have to punch him in the mouth. Sometimes you have to escalate to de-escalate. Now, we should celebrate this incredible tactical and operational victory Israel has realized against Hezbollah that many people said was impossible. But the reality is Hezbollah will rebuild, Hamas will rebuild, Houthis will continue to attack international shipping as long as Iran is flush with cash. We know how to deal with that. Number one, you flood the global supply with cheap American oil and gas. And number two, you put sanctions on Chinese buyers and refiners of Iranian oil, which the House has passed out of the House and Schumer has been sitting on. You have to constrain Iran's cash in order to make this a long-term victory for Israel and for the region. This is a golden opportunity to do that, and I fear the next couple of months, Biden and Harris are going to squander it.
Well, and, you know, they go on to say that Israel's campaign has been a remarkable display of intelligence, technological skill, and above all, political will, and that's despite the Biden administration, pressuring them to try to come to some sort of ceasefire, and Benjamin Netanyahu very defiant on the world stage at the United Nations. I want to switch gears with you. Trump Organization Executive Vice President and son of the 45th President, Don Trump Jr., he joined Maria on Sunday Morning Futures yesterday. He wanted to talk about the ongoing Iranian threat to assassinate his father, of course, the former president. Watch what he told her.
You've gotten information from the FBI that Iran not just wants to take down President Trump, but his family as well. There is a direct threat on you and your brother. Is this correct?
That is correct. I guess the logic being, if they inflict the kind of damage to someone's family, they get the effective disturbance to the campaign, to my father, to that mentality, without perhaps eliciting the response from the U.S. government. I've been told that not only by the FBI, but also by members of Congress who are read into these kinds of things.
Congressman, you're on the Trump Assassination Task Force. I do want to get your thoughts on what he told her.
Yeah. I am incredibly worried about President Trump's family. I'm worried about his cabinet members, some of whom the Secret Service have withdrawn their details away from, namely former National Security Advisor O'Brien. Look, Iran wants to hit someone and kill someone that is high enough that gives them the propaganda victory for revenge for taking out their field General Soleimani, but not so high as it would elicit an all-out U.S. response. And I just want to say one thing. The Biden-Harris administration have known about this for years, including ongoing plots plots to kill President Trump and have said or done nothing about it. There has been no assurance, no threat of consequences to the Ayatollahs. So what signal does that send them? That sends them the signal they could get away with it without suffering any type of retribution. That basically greenlights them to continue these plots, one of which was foiled the day before the Butler shooting. This is completely, wholly unacceptable. It's dangerous. And if you quietly greenlight Iran, then you're greenlighting all of our adversaries. The worst form of election interference I can think of is to kill a leading presidential candidate that would be bad for our adversary if they got elected. This is a very dangerous, slippery slope we're on because of the silence of Biden and Harris on this issue.
Well, Congressman, then give us an update. How do you feel that this committee and the work of the committee is going right now? Are you frustrated by the lack of information? Do you feel like you're being told enough by, in particular, the Secret Service as far as to what happened in Butler?
Well, it's mixed, Cheryl. For the Secret Service, their mistakes, the complacency, the lack of planning and coordination and communications in the run-up to Butler was almost hard to believe. It was so bad. But at least they are being forthcoming and talking to the committee, briefing us, and we'll wait and see what kind of accountability they impose on those responsible. The FBI, on the other hand, frustration is bipartisan. It's in the Senate and the House. It's really through the roof with the FBI. We know nothing about Crooks, the shooter. We know no more than we did the day after the shooting. His encrypted accounts, how he built those IEDs, how he was radicalized, who else he was working with, and they've gone into it's under investigation mode with Ruth as well. This is a time for maximum transparency for the American people and to tell them what we know when we know it. I understand there's a prosecution with Ruth, but there's not with Crooks. And so the FBI needs to be much more forthcoming, and there's conversations ongoing about having to subpoena Director Wray. We should not have to do that. But that's what this task force is willing to do to get the truth out there.
We're going to be following the work of your committee and other things that you're doing, of course, in Washington. Congressman Michael Waltz. Congressman, thank you.